This is Bike Trails Podcast with Christina and Alan. We hope you enjoy listening. Okay, Christina, we are live in the outdoors today, sitting in a church courtyard. We have an audience of birds who want to impose themselves on our podcast, but the alternatives aren't good, either a boxy room or a roadway, so we're going with birds.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's the next day. We came in real late and we wanted to go around the town, so we're recording the next day. How was your day yesterday, Christina?
It has two sides.
Oh.
So, I was super pleased by, again, the beautiful landscape. Bruneck to Lienz was our tour yesterday. And I was impressed that almost around every corner it accelerated. So the beauty just got better and better and better. And I know we did say the same stuff about the route the day before, but it's actually true. Because yesterday we got a glimpse of the Dolomites, like the Dreizinnen area Dolomites, and it was super beautiful. I felt like in a postcard where they take pictures for bike holidays, you know, with people on it to enjoy it, and we were those two people in this postcard ideal.
Yeah, it was very cool. Coming out of Bruneck was great.
It was super great, and the downside was that after like 40 kilometers, I really felt it in my body.
Yeah.
So that I was so happy that it was downhill almost all the time for 40 kilometers, but then I got cramps in my fingers from braking. But let's start from the start.
Yeah, so the day for me was definitely, like you say, two parts. It was hills and then this runoff. And we somehow, I think we got in 550 meters in the first 25 kilometers or something like this. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of climbing right away. And then it flattened out for a while. And then the remainder of the day, it was actually almost 50 kilometers, almost completely downhill. And we made a stop in the middle of that in Inichen, we'll talk about. But that was very interesting. So for me, I really liked the nature. The beginning parts right out of Bruneck was right in the forest. We were going through like walking and cycling tunnels through mountains and stuff, and they were quite long and dark. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it was something like 10 degrees in there. You could tell that you were definitely in a tunnel, right? And it was fabulous. We had great weather, we had good riding fitness, but it was just a constant barrage of hill after hill after hill. I wrote in my summary that it felt like we were constantly running into the ocean. It's like we were super happy on the beach, we're running free, and then we just run into the ocean and bang, we hit the water. And that's what it felt like. We would get down a hill, and right at the bottom of the hill was another brutal uphill immediately. So that was the first like 25, 30 kilometers. And then the rest of the day was downhill. And I say that generally I don't mind it downhill, but 50 kilometers of downhill actually is a little boring after a while. You know, I love looking around and the nature is great and the road or the cycleway was awesome, but it did get a bit boring. I was like, okay, I'm ready to be there now. And I want to get there right now. I'm tired and I want to go. But yeah, how did you think about this?
The same. I mean, when going down, it's not so easy to look left and right all the time because sometimes it was a 9-degree going down. So one really must be careful to not, get an accident, or you also have to look to not hit any other cyclists because yesterday was a Saturday and a lot of people were on the road actually, a lot of e-mountain bikers, and we saw the first ones with medals around their neck.
Yeah, I was wondering what's going on here.
Towards Bruneck. And so heading towards Bruneck, like after an hour of riding, those really good and fit looking, like picture book mountain bike racers came along, and some of them had a little number pinned on the top of their bike and a medal hanging around their head. And I was thinking, oh, maybe there is a race going on today. And it was, because when we came to a little town that I forgot the name of.
This was the Dolomiti Superbike series.
But it was...
it doesn't matter. It's a town on the route.
Yeah, but it's super important to know for people that maybe want to do this.
Just look up Dolomiti Superbike.
It was Niederdorf, Villa Bassa. So in that little village, every year in July, one of the hardest Dolomiti mountain bike races take part. And the little village was filled with thousands of bikers and bike shops and bike suppliers and foot stands and all that kind of stuff, and clothes shops. And you saw one of those bikers who wore one of those national t-shirt things.
Yeah, actually, so one of the guys was, typically when you see a professional wearing like the rainbow stripes, and this guy had it on his shoes, on his hat, his helmet, his tricot and everything. This signifies that he's a national champion in his country in some sort of biking category. It could be anyone, I don't know what it is, but if you're the national champion in your category, you have the right to wear this insignia for the year that you're the national champion in. So I have to look it up who it was, but just looking at him, I could imagine he is definitely a national champion in something related to bikes, because he came through the finish line like as fast as I could ever imagine going in my life. And that was after 5 hours of riding. He didn't just arrive and just fall over.
So like we know, we looked it up later. And so the classic ride is 60 kilometers, and then the 60 kilometers already contain 1,500 elevation meters, and then there was a bigger, and then the master route, and the master route was, I think, 180 and 5,000 elevation meters or something like this. So I would be happy if I survived the smallest one.
Yes.
So surviving would be my goal.
Yes.
And apparently a lot of people finished and survived, because I think most of them, probably the hobby riders, did the smaller route.
Of course, you can't.
But it was a festive feeling to walk through the town with our, bags on the bike and being...
It looked super great. And one of the interesting things I thought was we were walking through with our long distance bike stuff, and we're just walking around, and we have all of our luggage with us and stuff, and we're amongst all of the mountain bikers, but no one really said anything. We're just hanging around in the in the race area, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, everybody saw that we were traveling through, and we even had to change our route by walking along the race lane and crossing over, because our route actually was the race route yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. We had to find another way around for a while there. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't have a big desire to do that. I mean, I would do it as a challenge, but I don't want to alter my entire life towards racing. I mean, not that I could. I could do 10 minutes of racing, not 10 hours. But I think that for me, just, philosophically, I'd much rather do the thing I'm doing now, which is this much slower, long distance kind of thing.
I totally agree. But 14 years ago, when I did some of those long distance race bike marathons, most of the people I knew just took part because they want to be part of it, and they want to travel on roads that are mainly shut down for public transportation and for private cars. So when I did this Radmarathon, of course the smallest distance ever, it was beautiful because no car, no motorcycles, no other bike, and I think this is something special, you know, being part of it. I would download the smallest route. They have GPS files on it.
I would try to do it.
Yes, and then we just can do it, you know, with our Wahoo and see if we survive or not. Maybe not end of next week, because I read on the news that there will be a heat wave in Germany.
Oh, great.
And
just for when we
here,
get back to Germany.
Yeah, when we get back to Germany.
Super.
And guess what? The hottest day is predicted, our anniversary, our 7th day anniversary, the 23rd of July is the hottest day predicted.
Awesome.
But let's get back to the route.
Yeah, so I think, you know, it was one of those days that was really hard in the beginning and really, really easy in the end. And like, I really liked it because it was a big nature kind of thing. It was constantly this changing landscape. We were down by the river a lot, and I think it's important to comment that the rivers here where we are right now are definitely suffering. Like, we've seen full rivers and, you know, which seemingly completely unaffected by the climate situation that we have today. But then we've really seen some that are either completely dried up or just have, you know, very low flow, and even like established rivers that should be much higher during this time because they have infrastructure in the river for whether it's recreation or industry that's showing clearly that the level of the river should be higher. And that's not the case. So I don't know whether if it's just July and there is not a large water flow, but it seems very out of sorts. I think at least a meter down is what I saw.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I noticed this the first time when we were going down the Brenner Pass, because there were those little side rivers or
little
more
tributaries that come in. Yeah.
Yes, that come in, and they were mostly completely dried out. So it was just, I don't know, a water bottle wide little water flow coming down, and the waterbed was like as 30 times as wide as that. Yeah. And the Lienz river from Bruneck was also very low.
It was low,
the water was beautiful and clear and turquoise and beautiful looking. But yesterday, where I saw it most was the river that leads here to Lienz. It's called Drau River. And we were also on the Drau River bike tour lane. And so that was a super wide riverbed, and it was almost completely dried out. So when I saw all the signs, be aware of floods or water coming over the river, I was thinking, when should that happen? Because there is hardly any water in it. And this is very frightening, I must say.
Yeah.
And all the little waterfalls that should have come down from the Dolomite Alps did not come down because it was
all dried.
super dry. So one can see the water shortage coming up here as well. It's not only in other countries. In Germany we have that too, but mainly in Eastern Germany. But here I see it too.
I'm just wondering when it's going to be a problem for, you know, general purpose commerce. Like, when will we will not be able to book a hotel room, or when will restaurants not have enough water to do whatever they need to do? So somehow I feel like that's coming. It's pretty clear that the beginnings of that you can see if you're paying attention. I think if you spend all day in the city and you're just a normal person, you're working your job, you're with your family, you're taking a train here to there, you probably don't see it so much. But being out where, you know, you can see the drying up of the river and you can see the crops that are smaller. You know, we saw a lot of corn that was like really strangely small. We saw fields where they, I think, just decided not to plant anything because there was no water there. And then in other places we saw some farmer family watering a field with the largest sprinklers I've ever seen, but it was just grass. So I guess they were watering it for animals or something.
I don't know, but this was a huge water waste in the middle of the day when it
was like 35 degrees.
Yes, so I don't know about that.
Anyhow, it was a very good ride. It was lots of nature. I was very happy that we did it. I think we're in this town, Lienz, and this is a super lovely town. There is a lot of activities that you can do from this place. They have great public infrastructure, and they have lots and lots of restaurants and bars, way more than they should have, but they have a lot of things here. Excuse me. Oh my God. And yeah, I would recommend coming here. I would come back here for a weekend or a long weekend or something. So on tap for today, we have another 80 kilometers, and this time we dead end in Spital in Austria. And then next day we take a train through a mountain. So yeah, we have a long ride today. Not so bad, pretty simple, I think. Not too bad.
Yes, so from the statistics, it's a little bit interval training, but not so much than yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's mainly going down, so I think we will be good.
If you don't hear from us again, then we didn't make it.
We didn't make it. I tried to drink the water out of a dried out river and died myself in it. Maybe.
Actually, that reminds me, I told you when we were riding, I said, I just want to drink all of that river water because it is so clear all the way. You can see every rock. Like there's not even like a greenness from the mountain, like this like great, frosty green you get sometimes with this great mountain water. It's just completely clear, like it came from like a water making factory, Exactly. It was very, very beautiful. Super great.
I was having a dream, having a tiny little river going through my non-existing garden, and my house would be built out of timber wood, what I saw laying around yesterday.
There's a lot of that here,
in one of those timber factories, and I actually saw beautiful wooden houses where the under part was concrete or whatever, the first floor, and then the upper floor was completely made out of this beautiful timber wood, and it looked so great. It was a combination of traditional and modern in clear lines, and this is what I would like to have around here. Of course, up on an Alm-like area, like 1,200 meters up, that would be super great.
Well, of course, don't forget something at the store. Otherwise, you got to go back down.
Well, like I said, I would ride down with my black, beautiful horse.
Okay, now we need a horse. We need a horse, a river, a new house,
and goats and a cow too. Of course, I want to make my own cheese and I want to drink the milk. And you always said, you should live a sustainable life. This is super sustainable. The horse, though, produces a lot of CO2, and I read an article in Süddeutsche Zeitung shortly that said that a big dog produces a ton of CO2 a year. And this is interesting because all of the vegans out there that don't eat meat anymore but have like 3 bulldogs, they completely destroy their CO2.
What is your footprint? I don't know.
I have no idea. Probably not so good because I traveled a lot in my former years. But that just came to my mind, how many tons of CO2 a horse would produce. But since I wouldn't have a car, I think it evens out.
Right. So if you just use the horse for your main transportation.
Just use the horse.
Yeah.
And I would have a little carriage,
Where are you going to leave it at Edeka? Just tie it up outside of the supermarket.
Yes, I would tie it up, in a little grassy area, and I would go in.
I think this sounds great. There might be a few holes in this plan we have to work out.
Okay, let's
like the winter.
Let's let it be this idyllic dream of mine.
By the way, if anyone has actually listened to this long, let us know if you think we're crazy, and should we just give up our cars and get a horse and live in an Alm? Okay.
I mean, getting to work would be quite difficult. What would I do with the horse for the 8? Oh, we have
telemedicine.
No, not telemedicine. We have nice loans in front of the hospital. I would have to ask the administration.
Okay, very good.
I think now it's getting too crazy.
Well, we're in a good mood. We're on holiday, and I wish everyone had a great holiday like we have. So, until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.